Most people think about nutrition the same way at 60 as they did at 30. Same foods, same habits, roughly the same approach. But the body at 60 is operating under a completely different set of rules. Metabolism slows. Appetite changes. The body absorbs certain nutrients less efficiently. Some medications interfere with how the gut processes vitamins and minerals. And the consequences of poor nutrition at this stage of life are not just about weight or energy. They are about whether you can maintain the muscle strength to avoid falls, the bone density to survive them if they happen, and the cognitive clarity to stay sharp and independent for years to come. Today, I want to walk you through 10 nutrition habits that health organizations, including the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Institute on Aging, and the National Council on Aging, identify as essential for healthy aging after 60. And I want to start with a number that should get your full attention. Nearly 1 in 2 older adults in the United States are at risk of malnutrition. Not starvation. Malnutrition. Meaning they are eating enough calories to feel full, but not getting the specific nutrients their body needs to function well. More than 10 million older Americans experience food insecurity every year. And poor nutrition in older adults is directly linked by the CDC to increased likelihood of falls, hospitalization, and slower recovery after illness. These are not abstract statistics. They describe what happens when the connection between daily food choices and long-term physical independence gets ignored. The good news is that most of the habits that protect against these outcomes are surprisingly simple. Let me walk through all 10. The first habit is prioritizing protein at every meal. Muscle mass naturally declines as we age, a process that begins gradually in your 40s and accelerates significantly after 60. This decline affects balance, mobility, and your ability to recover from illness or injury. Protein is the primary nutritional tool for slowing that decline. Eggs, fish, lean poultry, beans, yogurt, nuts, and seeds are all strong options. The goal is not to eat enormous amounts at one sitting, but to include a meaningful protein source at every meal throughout the day, which distributes the amino acid supply your muscles need to maintain and repair themselves continuously. The second habit is staying hydrated consistently throughout the day, and this one catches many people off guard. Older adults experience a natural reduction in thirst signals as they age. That means dehydration can develop without the body sending a clear warning. By the time you feel thirsty at 60 or 70, you may already be mildly dehydrated. The National Institute on Aging identifies this as a specific and increasing risk with age. The solution is to drink water on a schedule rather than waiting for thirst to prompt you. Water-rich foods like fruits, vegetables, and soups count toward your fluid intake, as does tea. The practical target is making hydration a habit rather than a reaction. The third habit is adding more fiber to daily meals. Fiber supports digestive health, helps maintain stable blood sugar levels, and plays a direct role in keeping cholesterol in a healthy range. Whole grains, oats, beans, fruits, and vegetables are the primary sources. Most Americans already fall short of the recommended daily fiber intake, and that gap tends to widen with age as appetite decreases and food variety narrows. Adding fiber does not require dramatic changes. Swapping refined grains for whole grain versions, adding a serving of beans to soups or salads, and including fruit with breakfast are all straightforward ways to close the gap. The fourth habit is supporting bone health with calcium and vitamin D. Bone density decreases naturally with age, raising the risk of fractures from falls that might have been minor at a younger age. Calcium-rich foods include dairy products, fortified plant-based milks, leafy greens like kale and bok choy, and certain fish, including sardines and canned salmon with bones. Vitamin D is equally important because it is what allows the body to actually absorb and use the calcium you eat. Without adequate vitamin D, calcium intake has much less protective effect. Many older adults are deficient in vitamin D, particularly those who spend limited time outdoors, making this a habit worth paying close attention to. The fifth habit is eating a wide variety of colorful fruits and vegetables. Different colors in produce generally signal different nutrients and antioxidants. Berries provide one category of protective compounds. Leafy greens provide another. Orange and yellow vegetables like sweet potatoes and peppers provide carotenoids. No single color covers everything, which is why variety across the spectrum matters. Eating a diverse range of produce supports immune function, reduces oxidative stress, and contributes to overall wellness in ways that supplements generally cannot replicate as effectively as whole foods. The sixth habit is being mindful of sodium intake. Many processed and packaged foods contain high levels of sodium, and high sodium intake is one of the leading contributors to elevated blood pressure, which becomes an increasingly significant health risk after 60. The practical approach here is cooking more often with fresh ingredients and using herbs, spices, and citrus as flavor alternatives to salt. This does not mean eliminating sodium entirely, but being aware of how much is coming in from processed sources and reducing it where possible without making meals feel restrictive. The seventh habit is paying attention to medication interactions with food and nutrition. This is one of the most overlooked areas of nutrition for older adults. Some medications affect appetite, alter how the digestive system functions, or interfere with how specific nutrients are absorbed. Older adults who take multiple prescriptions are particularly at risk of developing nutritional gaps they may not connect to their medications. The recommendation from health organizations is to discuss nutrition and diet directly with a healthcare professional, especially when taking multiple medications, so that any interactions can be identified and managed proactively. The eighth habit is not skipping meals. As appetite naturally decreases with age, skipping meals can begin to feel normal, but consistent meal skipping leads to unintended weight loss, which at this stage of life primarily means muscle loss rather than fat loss, along with fatigue and nutritional deficiencies that accumulate over time. The approach that works best for many older adults is shifting away from 3 large meals towards smaller, more frequent meals and snacks throughout the day. This maintains steady energy, keeps nutritional intake consistent, and removes the pressure of needing to eat a large volume at any one sitting. The ninth habit is planning meals to make healthy choices easier. Cooking every day can become genuinely challenging as people age, particularly for those living alone or managing mobility limitations. Meal planning, grocery delivery services, and community meal programs are all practical tools that reduce the daily effort required to eat consistently well. The goal is not perfection, but removing the friction that leads to falling back on convenience foods or skipping meals when cooking feels like too much. Planning even a few meals ahead of time and having the right ingredients stocked changes the default choice from whatever is easiest to whatever was already prepared. The 10th habit is thinking of nutrition as one part of a larger health picture. This one matters because it reframes the entire conversation. Healthy aging is not driven by any single factor. Nutrition works together with sleep, physical activity, hydration, and social connection to support overall well-being. A person who eats well but sleeps poorly and is isolated will not age, as well as someone whose daily habits address all of these areas together. Small, consistent improvements across multiple habits add up to a meaningfully different outcome over years and decades. Nutrition is the foundation, but it does not work in isolation. There are also warning signs worth knowing, both for yourself and for family members of older adults. Unintended weight loss, ongoing fatigue or weakness, reduced appetite, dizziness, increased falls, mood changes, confusion, and difficulty shopping for or preparing food are all indicators that nutritional needs may not be getting met. These signs often develop gradually, which makes them easy to miss early. Recognizing them and connecting older adults with resources like meal delivery programs or community nutrition services can make a real difference in helping people stay safe and independent at home. The connection between what you eat after 60 and how independently you live in the years that follow is more direct than most people realize. Every one of these 10 habits is something that can be built into a daily routine without overhaul or difficulty. Start with whichever one feels most relevant to where you are right now and build from there. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next video, and share this with someone in your life who is navigating this stage. The information in this video could genuinely change how the next decade